hands up, my hands raised. Reach on up and give it a good chug, you'll be amazed. Now you say it hurts, well, it's just your technique. That's because you're not giving enough, your high five is weak. Coming from love and wisdom, and concern that your weak high five may one day harm you in life. Got what you came for, kept eye on the prize. Why you always giving a weak high five? Proud of my star, give your arm a rise. Let go of your low, scared high five. Slap hard with the same energy you gave. I never reach up this high just to wave. Don't disappoint like handshakes that die. Please get to work on your high five. Got a weak high five, get to work on your high five. Got a weak high five, get to work on your high five. Another slam dunk, you know my aim. Reach on up and give it a good plunk and don't strain. We all have these little things we just can't let go, and I'm so sorry, babe, to say this is one of them. So please get to work. Got what you came for, kept eye on the prize. Why you always giving a weak high five? Proud of my star, give your arm a rise. Let go of your low, scared high five. Slap hard with the same energy you gave. I never reach up this high just to wave. So don't disappoint like handshakes that die. Please get to work on your high five. Get to work on your high five.
Chocolate Milk and Waffle Show. Take 15. It's the Chocolate Milk and Waffle Show. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the Chocolate Milk and Waffle Show. Yeah. It's the crazy, 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 crazy show. That's what it is. Okay, whatever. I can't.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's get it on.
Who are these guys?
It's my theme music. Every good hero should have some.
What is going on, Internet? You are listening to the Chocolate Milk and Waffle Show on Radio FRadio.com. My name's George.
And I am No Pantalones.
Who the fuck is that?
And you are listening to our very first roundtable discussion. This is a brainchild of my partner, Terrell Mercer, and I think it is a fantastic idea. I am super excited for what we're going to do tonight. Yeah. We invite you all to join in on our discussion by calling in on 757-848-5920. Once again, that number is 757-848-5920. Also, before we get started, I'd like to draw your attention to our Patreon page, where for just $1 a month, you get access to our entire archive as it is happening. But more than that, you get to say that you are supporting independent radio. And not too many people can say that they can do that.
No, stingy people. Right.
Yeah.
You 1%ers.
Indeed.
So we have some amazing guests in here with us. We have returning guests for this roundtable discussion. So how about we start with some introductions? Over here to my left is
EAYAES from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Musician, MC, poet, and such. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And to my left, we have
Novocaine Omega with no headphones. You know what I'm saying? I'm an MC and stuff, and make music and art and stuff.
And I am her rhyme partner, Sirius B of the mighty, mighty Rubber People.
Rubber People.
Rubber People.
Yep. And here's our other guest stepping in.
And just in
Yeah.
time.
Woo!
Welcome, Marquita.
Right on time,
we
indeed.
were doing intros.
Oh, perfect. Oh, wait, you know this bunda got to get past you, bro.
Oh, sorry.
This bunda.
Yeah. they actually be in the studio saying this bone. I'm like, what is that? Why?
It sounds like what it is.
Yup.
Yeah, I know.
It does,
It's the
indeed.
this that makes it.
Yeah.
This bunda.
This bunda.
And to my right, we have
Marquita Bianca. What's up, everybody?
what's
What's
up?
up? What's
Hey.
All
Made it through the
right.
traffic.
I did, and I got
Yeah.
to get dressed. If y'all can visually think about what this show's gonna be about today.
Well, we're
Word.
broadcasting.
Oh yeah,
live
we
on
are.
YouTube, so
I
there
forgot
is
we are
that.
broadcasting live on YouTube
Oh,
now.
where?
It just turned a
Oh,
corner.
over there. Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, and also Justin will be chiming in today as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
that's wonderful.
Yeah, he's our other
Yeah.
guest, the guest that's here every day.
That's tight.
And back here we have our
Jeff.
brain Krang, if you will.
Jeff.
Jeff.
Yeah.
All right, now
Little
let's get,
turtles.
let's get this cracking. Terrell will be acting as our moderator this evening.
I guess so.
Well, you came up with the questions; it would only be right.
It wouldn't be left.
I don't know what the
but,
questions are.
All right. I guess the first question I'm going to ask,
throw it out
yo,
there.
we're going to throw this out there. The state of hip hop.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's a loaded
Indies,
question.
Indies versus national.
What? Indies
that's-
versus national.
I
Like,
mean, I'm always going to be partial to the
Yeah.
indies.
Yeah, no competition.
no. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Same reason I'm more partial to college basketball than NBA.
Absolutely.
Yeah. and
There's hunger
football,
there. There's
all
more
that.
heart
That's
there.
a great analogy.
I can get with
Mm.
Yeah.
that. They're a little bit, they're hungrier.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so are we.
And they breaking more
starving
rules.
athletes and starving artists.
Makes
Right.
it interesting to watch the game. You want to follow the artist.
True.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
And the humility
Well-
is there to keep the music good too.
Yup.
The
Well,
art.
that's really what it is. The true science of it is, I think those of us that are down here independently, like I've been MCing for 23 years, and I realized that at first when I was young, I thought it was for the money, you know, because you just kind of following the hip hop trend. You're looking at the videos back in the day, just pre-internet hip hop, y'all. But as time moved on, and I realized my responsibilities then as an MC,
Mhm.
and then you realize that with the state of the national aspect of hip hop, it becomes a responsibility kind of to continue
Yeah.
harnessing your craft, doing better, and doing the best you can to lead by example.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's one thing I think that keeps us
Yeah.
going, and just a love of music and a love of making music. You know what I mean? So that trumps the successful. We come to find out, really, if you just kind of organize the paperwork and things like that, and the underground industry is really about bartering.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like about faith. That's another reason why I like this aspect. And another, you can drop an album in 88 and then you can drop it again in 98.
Right.
That's
Right.
another thing I like about
Okay.
underground timeless music. You know what I mean? So versus national, I mean, they get money and they get fame. And on one end, I guess I can say the state of hip hop, we often those of us hip hop historians kind of wondered with Sylvia Robinson putting it on record, was it a curse and was it a blessing?
Right.
Got you.
You know what I mean? We think about it like that. So I'm gonna stop there and see if anybody else can add on. I'm an MC.
I think what's so interesting, and this is coming from dancer perspective, I just had this conversation with one of my good friends, and the topic that was brought up was Usher.
Mm.
Now, not a hip hop artist, completely understand that, but I was like, well, what happened? And then that last stripper record happened.
What?
Exactly.
Yeah, his last joint was
And
just for
then, and then
strippers,
if,
dude.
and then if
Like,
you and then if you recognize, then you just didn't hear anything. And so we were like, man, there used to be a time where Usher had so much feel good music out. Everybody was enjoying him and everything. So I think what's so important is it's what happens with almost every national artist. You are tied up in a contract where your hands are locked and you are supposed to continually, you know, there's this need to push out album after album after album to fulfill a contract.
Right.
You have independent artists that are making it and doing it for the love of doing it on their own time slots.
Right.
And that bartering and all of those things that you spoke about now becomes valuable.
Right.
It becomes valuable because not only can you speak and do it the way you want to do it, but you're not answering to John sitting behind a desk who signed a contract for 10 years for you for 3 albums for $10 million.
Right.
You know, and so you lose probably a bit of yourself, I could imagine. And being someone who owns their own business, I don't answer to anybody. So I can only put myself in the thought process of somebody who has to answer to somebody. And so again, not a hip hop artist, but Beyonce going independent and paying for everything herself.
Right.
Then she started putting out the dopeness of what she wanted to do. We're not seeing that a lot with hip hop artists. I mean, what, maybe closest Kanye?
Yeah.
You know, who we can really say is
You're
doing
treading
things
a thin line with calling it hip hop.
Well, no. Well, okay. I understand that. But a person who is in that industry doing what they want to do on their own terms. No, I get it. I get it.
But you know,
now,
you also have groups like, let's take the Roots.
Okay.
You know, Jimmy Fallon. I think they went to a level where they were touring.
Right.
You know, they got a lot of good music.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are children at the shipyard, younger people. Yeah, y'all already heard the Roots. They'd be like,
who?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Philadelphia Half-Life? What?
Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? So and then when they say, you know, they ask me for some of my favorite MCs, you know, I bring up Black Thought. And you know, my list always I get this response.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely.
I know, dog.
You know what I mean? You know,
man.
Who is that? But I'll explain to them that because they'll say when I tell them like I'm not really trying to be Jay-Z status. So a lot of the young people, most of them, that's their bar.
Right.
I said, man, that's a hot bar. I said,
there's a lot of MCs along the way.
Something like, you ever heard of
Jay-Z?
MF Doom? They'll be like, no. I said, you know, he's a billionaire.
Right.
He travels all over the world. He has a lot of music. He has a lot of records. But you know what he can do?
Dedicated fan
base.
base.
He can go to Walmart.
Yep.
And not be harassed.
Because nobody knows what he looks like under that mask.
I said there are musicians like that. There are people like that. You know what I mean? So
it does exist.
And
definitely.
Tech Nine's another one of those independent.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah, dog. Like that's why he's someone that I look up to as far as being able to seriously take everything into his own hands. You know what I'm saying? To like really do the shit his way and break whatever kind of rules he wants to break without having someone say, well, you know, you should definitely do this instead. Nah, he's like, man, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? You know how you talk. You know,
right. These are artists that have turned down majors.
Yeah,
repeatedly. Immortal Technique is another one.
Yeah,
probably one of the most successful independent hip hop artists ever.
Speaking of turn it down, want to get on the contemporary level. Chance the Rapper.
Yeah,
he's killing it right now.
Yeah,
without having no deal at all. Seriously, turning down every deal that comes his way. That's impressive, and I fully respect that. You know what I'm saying?
And that's a great spot to be in.
Yeah.
That's where you want to be.
Right, and that brings it back to what you were saying of being locked into those contracts and being forced into a creative space. As artists, that's not even how we function.
Right.
So, like Jarrell and I had a conversation on the way here about how many artists' albums progressively get worse throughout their career.
And it's affected that stripper record we were just talking about.
You know,
Common.
I read in the book.
As much as I hate to admit it,
Yeah.
but you know what? This is what I can say. Common has just been inconsistent because he's gone like there was Resurrection, which I've bought 3 times, and then it was like Water for Chocolate was good, but it was like.
You skip One Day It'll All Make Sense.
One Day It'll All Make Sense
was outstanding.
That was beautiful. That was a gorgeous record.
Chocolate was good, but it was starting to get a little commercial. People were starting to pay attention to Common.
Right. And that's when he dropped The Sense too, if I'm not mistaken. Or whatever.
After that, he dropped the Electric Circus, and that's where he really lost a lot of people. Even though Electric Circus is actually a good album.
I like that record.
It's actually a good album. But he had the crochet pants on the album on the magazine cover, and everybody blamed Erykah Badu. But in his interview, he said even Erykah Badu was like, "Nigga, what are you doing?"
Right?
Yeah, I mean, so he lost it. But I guess my issue is him and all the like sunglasses in the club. calling women bitches type music. Like I saw some video that was recent, like within the past, I guess 3 years, and it hurt. Like it hurt.
Yeah.
Like I didn't like universal mind control, but it didn't like hurt me, like destroy. Like he was like, yeah, because my bitch and something and something else about his bitch, and he had
it was almost like it's almost like watching
like,
a person themselves digress, not just the music.
Yeah.
Like the person themselves, like yo,
that wasn't common.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't common.
You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's like, and what's sad is if you follow these people, you'll listen to their early music and they will completely contradict everything they say.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that's when you realize, you know, it I think that's when it kind of begins to hurt a little bit. You know what I mean? You got, like you said, it's the person. Now it ain't even the music. And that's why I say I always tell people that's another reason why I like being on this level, is because I can rate you for the person you are. Up higher, people rate you for the idol worship. So it's all about what you do, not who you are.
Like success is like artistry is entirely too proportioned with monetary success. When you're talking about majors and the mainstream, whereas MF Doom and Immortal Technique, these Chance the Rapper, their success is based on merit. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And peer acceptance.
And consistency, like you were saying. Yeah.
You know, when we talk about the whole being locked into the contracts and everything, so then we go into the whole spiel of artists like Common, when they go into this commercialism of the movies and all these other things. So now when you're in a creative space where it gets watered down because now you're trying to move across a couple of different networks.
You're a brand.
Yes. So that whole branding process can sometimes really work against you when it talks about, you know, because now all of this conscious music he was making the person that we thought he was. Well, now, you know, he's in, what was that movie, Just Right? With Queen Latifah, which I absolutely love the movie.
Oh, he played the basketball player?
The basketball player. You know, good movie, but you know, then you come back and your record isn't the same, you know, the next time, you know, so it just goes back into trying to fulfill, because you have that PR person who says, you know what, you're really great face value to be able to do this. How about we try our hand at acting? How about we do this? You know,
let's feel crazy saying no.
Like, can they see the arm on YouTube?
Who's gonna say no? It's like, oh, I get to be in the movies. I'm coming on up.
I go to acting school.
And
now, because I'm a rapper, I go right to a major film, and you hear actors.
They don't like that. Actors don't like that.
Went to acting school,
real actors.
Put in work, audition all their life, was broke, lived out of their car, whatever. Now here come the rapper, gets the role.
I think it was De Niro or Pacino that was like, yo, why the hell are we doing a movie with 50 Cent right now? And one of them says something along those lines, like, what the fuck, man? Like,
which is an actual great question.
It is. Like, why are you doing
why am I here?
For real. Like, you got De Niro and Pacino and Curtis Jackson. The fuck? Like,
do you think it's because on some level rappers are actors?
Yeah, a lot of them are.
Well, to a degree.
Yeah.
I think, but I don't think that's why the industry chooses them.
Yeah,
I think they choose them because of who they are. And then I think sometimes they are actually a good actor, like Mos Def, who was actually kind of
Mos Def,
like you said, from the Cosby Mysteries. He's a thespian,
way.
Mos Def is an actor.
You remember that commercial back in the day where Deion Sanders goes into a collectible shop and the dude behind the counter starts flipping out because it's Deion Sanders, and he's like, "Can you sign this? Can I get your autograph on that?" Deion Sanders goes to write a check and he's like, "I'm gonna need a CID." That was Mos Def. That was before Black on Both.
But
you just brought it
he's
back.
on the Cosby Mysteries, right? Yeah, when he's like a child.
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Whole television show on Channel 3, him and Bill Cosby. It was like on Channel 3. And he was up. That was the first time I've ever seen him.
But there's a whole group like that where they're kind of art schooly type people or whatever. Like a Mel LaRoe,
Most is a
Questlove,
different kind
people
of
like that.
I hate to. Most I kind of put him in a different little category.
He is.
Now, would you put? Now we talking about rapper actors. How do you classify Childish Gambino then?
I'm not hip enough to know.
Donald.
I'm not hip enough to know.
Okay, Childish Gambino is probably one of the most broad spectrum talented people I have ever known. He's a stand-up comedian, a dope MC. He was on the show Community. He was a writer for Community. He wrote for several sitcoms. He's one of those guys. He's about to be in a new Spider-Man movie coming up. They almost made him Spider-Man.
It wouldn't surprise me. They would go with the Miles Morales.
They were going to go the Miles Morales route, but they chose not. he is remarkably talented. I think he's one of those that was. I don't think it was like he's ever even started with one particular thing. I think he kind of had his hands in everything. Like most, he kind of had his hands in everything already.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was about to say a little earlier how as an MC when you hear that Shaq about to drop an album.
Right.
Like, yo,
you don't need no more Shaq Diesel.
It's interesting for you to say if you come with all of those, if you are juggling talents though, you come in like that. You know what I mean? You're like, well, okay, if you can sing, and rhyme and act, and if you are like a Lauryn Hill, okay, you know what I mean? I can deal with that. Lauryn is just the act. We didn't trip.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Very true.
We didn't really trip.
And like his sister act ain't no. It's sister act. It's not like it's The Color Purple.
It was
really
right. You're talking about a feel good movie versus something that's
that was for like teenagers.
Yeah.
But I still feel you. It wasn't like, oh my God, Lauryn, you're killing me. Like,
she didn't have, let's be real. She didn't have to. It wasn't a stretch to play the character.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
somebody that could sing in church.
She didn't have to method act or nothing. She kind of had to show up.
But when you're talking about that, but with Childish though, you're talking about somebody who has a really strong background in writing. Genuinely, when you have that strong background in writing, so then going over to rapping and being MC and all of those things, it's not once again not a far stretch,
right?
Because the strength it's in one area,
right?
But going back to somebody like 50 Cent, who is now making a movie with De Niro. One of these things just doesn't belong here.
It's because he's 50.
It's one thing. It's one thing to play a role behind the mic and in the studio. It's another to play a role on camera. You know what I'm saying? You got to embody that person. You know, it's different. It's a whole nother.
But I think that kind of paints a picture of how skewed Hollywood's perception is, because the hip hop community knows that that's not real.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas. Well, Hollywood's got to know too, though. I guess ultimately, right? Like
they know.
They gotta
Hollywood
know.
Is Hollywood.
I mean,
but
it's a
they don't really think
Hollywood's not real.
They are the illusionists, though.
They are the
right.
They really are. They call it movie magic for a reason,
right? I almost feel like because we've been at the table, with labels, and it's almost like you're not there. You wrote the music and everything.
Yeah,
your boy made the beat.
Yeah,
but it's like
I'm gonna need you.
It's like you don't have any more ideas. You're done. Now that you're at the table, it's like it's over.
And they know they have the ultimate carrot. They know they have what you need. You know what I mean?
Dangle it.
They know it.
Right.
Damn.
You know what I mean? And of course, most artists that we know of are or a lot of them came from the hood, or especially in hip hop. You know what I mean? Or come needing, or in need, again, with the love of the music and conscious and not even thinking about, money when people, wave it at you again. But then that's back to the person.
That's why I don't judge. I don't judge people.
You know what I mean?
Like when I find out, well, I'm lying. I do judge.
You don't do it openly.
I try to understand that if it were me and I was in the same predicament where I've been poor all my life, I'm like, welcome to QVC or whatever, and I'm doing that for like a meager paycheck, and here I am wanting to live my life, getting paid for my talent, and somebody comes and they want to pay me, or at least give me, bless you, at least give me a lot more recognition.
I was waiting for them to get them all out
on like a huge stage for my talent. I mean, and I'm going to get paid for it, and I get to stop my job and go on tour and do all this. I might owe the record company, but would I turn them down, even though I know I'm getting kind of a bad end of the record deal? A lot of people are not going to turn them down, and it's just
that's true.
Because you're getting the bad end of the stick at your regular job, working, and nobody knows you. You know what I mean? But you just can't see in the future enough to know, okay, I'm going to suck in like 7 years. Like I'm going to be like a shell of my former self. No one's going to like my music anymore. I think that's why Dre 3000 just went on and stopped, because he used to say it a lot in his music. Like when the record player get to skipping and slowing down, he was scared of that. He was like, nah. His whole verse on the song Zachariah. Do you need some tissue? I don't have any.
This is how real we keep it in here.
Yeah.
This is family.
It's like when
that's cool. No,
we got the CEOs of Soul Trust Records.
Right.
Children. Yeah.
All right, people.
But no, I mean, like that whole verse on is it Rosa Parks?
Yeah, Rosa Parks. Yeah.
The whole verse is about that. Like, okay, I don't want to be that dude that he's like up Shit's Creek. It's weak is the last quote that I want to hear when I'm going down. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't feeling that. He's like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to. And then they were coming to him with movies and stuff too. He's like, I'm starting to change.
Yeah.
It's like a lichen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So since we do that, I think your son sneezing was perfect to go into arts in the school. Is it a right or a privilege?
Yo,
is it a right or a privilege?
Yeah,
it needs it. I say it's a necessity, man. Like,
yeah,
for real. Because
either of those were the
because
right word.
like
true.
based
I
off,
guess it's a necessity or privilege.
Right, Darrell nailed it. I think.
Yeah, man. Like based off of you know what I had to go through when I was a kid. You know, it wasn't like extra overly dramatic, but I was still, you know, I was going through some shit, you know, when I was younger, and you know, there were kids going through it worse than I was. So kids need some kind of healthy outlet when they're going through something that they don't know that they can't understand how to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Like they need something that's not gonna be destructive to them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so easy to be caught up in something that's not good for you in order for you to cope with whatever you're going through. You know what I'm saying? You have to have some kind of art. You have to have some kind of healthy outlet. And with arts being in the schools like they should be, they'll have to ingrain in them, you know what I'm saying, from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're feeling this kind of way, you can paint some shit, you can paint it out, you can write it out, you can play it out on you know, your instrument or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But without that, there lacks a certain development in the brain too. You know what I'm saying? Like that's right. Especially at, you know, elementary level, you know what I'm saying, that's necessary for creativity development and problem solving and just, you know, putting things together and really getting out what you need to get out, even though you don't really understand it. You know what I'm saying? Like that needs to be there regardless. Like I don't give a fuck what you say about funding or whatever. That needs to happen.
Nah, it's funding for it. Yeah. I have to speak to this because like it's personal.
Right,
me,
especially as a parent.
Well, I mean, and I grew up before I started rhyming. Everybody knew I was going to be an artist, you know, and I went to the Governor's School for the Arts, and then I went to art college in Baltimore and everything. And it's not only just a way to express yourself, but it's a trade. I mean, when you know how to draw, you have a trade. If you know how to paint, you have a trade. Particularly, you know, graphic design and animation and anything like that. There's always going to be a place for you to at least make some money or to be. I mean, they say starving artist, but really, I mean, everything makes the world go round. Somebody designed this. Somebody designed this. It's not just the parts inside, but somebody was like, I want a nice, sleek microphone, and I need somebody to draw it. You know what I mean? So there's that. But also for me, it keeps you out of trouble. It's expressive and everything, but it also gives you some like swag and a place like to belong. Like, the reason I say that is like, I mean, I always was cool with people. You know what I mean? I always had like a sense of humor and stuff, and that kind of kept me. Everybody wants to fit in a little, no matter what you say. You know what I mean, or whatever. But where I might not have been the most like girly girl or the most whatever, you know, like nobody gave a damn because I could draw and because I can. And then when I started rhyming, it was over. It was over, right?
Yeah,
so, like, you know, I mean, my self-esteem. I'm not one of those people that need a lot of validation from others, but I also realize that it's because I've always gotten it because I always had that sketchbook and I always had those lyrics. You know what I mean? So I encourage it, like you said, especially as a mother. It keeps my children don't know anything but people dancing, spinning on their heads, literally because we, you know, Zulu Nation thing and the whole just their environment. They constantly have a studio session a day. They're constantly around it, and so then when they get older, they're gonna go, wow, you know, it's like a seed and it's a jewel for them being planted. And I recommend it. If you have any child that's just giving you trouble or whatever, you've got to put them
channel that energy.
You got to give them something to make them feel like they matter, not just so they can say, "Oh, I hate everybody" and paint that, but also make them be like, "Okay,
like Jeff."
Like I can charge for this. You know what I mean?
I like that you brought up the self-esteem thing. That's critical too.
Yes, it is.
True.
It is.
True. And I would like to just add on and say with the art in the school, the history of things are important as well. In old civilizations, if children, or if we would teach them the importance of how an artisan or an artist was, sculptors and artists were commissioned by governments to paint major
the nobility.
Exactly. Civilization. They were invaluable or whatever. So, and of course, back to the machine we were talking about earlier, you know, even with the artists, the music, you know what I'm saying, the recording artists and the musical artists or whatever. But then even adding that, I had an idea a long time ago, instead of having a rec center where people play sports, where children play sports, have one where the arts is in there.
Man, come on, dog.
Culinary arts, anything where arts in it. You can do, you know what I mean? You can go in there and you can study something instead of, you know, the basketball. Everybody trying to basketball play, but you go in there and we had the talent shows, you know, or like you have the girls doing it.
That's kind of what TWP does.
Yeah.
They actually have an actual facility, and they got the music room. They got
You say TWP? We've done like all kinds of camps and stuff.
Yeah, we've helped
presenting the elements to the children and all that stuff.
You know, educating them with that or whatever. So, yeah.
Justin, you quiet over there.
Yes.
Come on, chime
I
in,
usually
buddy.
am. I was actually lucky enough that I went to school in New York. So starting in 3rd grade, they give you the option of, you know, chorus or band, and I was lucky enough to be in band from 3rd till I was a senior in high school. I moved here going into the 6th grade year, or trumpet.
Hey, like D-Man.
Yeah, and you know, well, and then I moved here, and I went to Hampton High School, and one of the most fun things was marching band, because it led me to a whole different type of culture that I didn't.
Big down here.
Yeah, and I didn't have that in New York. I had your typical, we're gonna play in a little jazz band, concert band, and but it was absolutely necessary for me to get here to be in band. I never would have gotten here without it. So I think it's absolutely a necessity.
Right. I'm glad you brought that band thing up, because high schools don't have that going on anymore either. Bands used to be huge. You know, there'd be like 100 children in the band, and the drum line, and the parades and everybody, and then people in the hood was in the band, and Little Majorettes was running and everything like that. There was a communal thing too. If somebody could tumble back in the day, or somebody could dance, it was always a very big deal or whatever. So definitely.
I think music changed that though too. Music becoming shitty in general.
Yeah.
Like in the world, I think it killed bands
and less instrumentation.
Yeah, that's my point. That's exactly what I'm
Overall.
saying. What's the need? Who wants to hear the band play some Rihanna and Drake and shit? Like, but that's what's out. So like, if you go back in time and play all that old stuff, Drumline is actually kind of about that. There's like a little
it is.
what's going on with that, because the new, and that came out when music was still kind of decent.
Yeah, but, it was like the tipping point right
there. One college with
with
that wore purple, they were playing all the kind of new school, like, and they had like the lights and camera, and then the other dude just wanted to, like, he was playing like Flight of the Bumblebee or something.
Yeah,
but it was musical. He was like, you know, what's happening?
Rigid and stiff.
Yeah, he was like, yo, this the jam, but he stopped it like, yo,
right.
this the joint right here.
How do you feel about dancing?
I could speak for hours on this subject. Coming from, I found dance at the age of 21. I often think about, for me as a person and the way my character, I'm very strong-minded. So I think about if I had had the arts in school, where I would be at this point in time. However, I feel that everything happens in God's timing. So in order for me to be doing what I'm doing right now, it happened when it was supposed to. However, I know that there is a direct responsibility on myself to now make sure that it's available for kids, because once again, what if I had found it earlier? Would I even be sitting at this table, you know? So we have a program that we actually teach in the public school system. The PTA funds it. And so I'm really proud of it. But what's so funny is, as we talk about it, I think about the fact that when we go into the schools, one of the things that I always ask the kids is, you know, well, do you like having dance? And we go in for a week into each, you know, school. Okay. And so the goal is to be in every city, in every school, and just kind of keep spreading it. Right. And so the teachers always say the same thing. I'm so glad that you're here. And I'm like, well, thank you. I'm glad we're here too, you know? And they're like, well, you know, because we try to do these line dances with the kids, and they were trying to Dougie, and I'm like, oh God, okay, hold on, wait.
Trying to Dougie.
So I think it goes back to, if you have a leak in your house, you're gonna call who? A plumber. Right. You try to fix it, you might make the leak worse. Right. You know, worse than it is. You need to bring, so while we're talking about the arts being in the schools, we need to talk about it coming professionally and being correct. We have programming, because the teachers have to have a certain amount of programming, a certain syllabus, all of these things. So our program directly fulfills the dance credit within the school system for that year. But without our program, these teachers are taking it upon themselves to Dougie or Douglas.
Douglas.
Or Douglas. It may be their Dougie, but it's really a Douglas. Or cha-cha slide them way, you know, their way into trying to educate the kids. And so there is
That's how you end up with that video on the internet of that chorus of kids singing
Superman.
Whipping Nene or whatever that damn
Yes.
song is.
You
you know the video I'm talking about,
I have
right?
not
They were
seen
doing
that,
like Soldier
thankfully.
Boy with Superman. I know what Superman was meaning in that song for real.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
It's horrible. And so then at that point, it directly works against everything we stand for.
Yeah.
Right.
Because, okay, we can say, oh, yeah, you guys moved. We taught you something. But no, what you really taught them was, you know what? No matter how I'm fed this, you want me to call it something.
Right.
When, you know, ultimately, like you go to Taco Bell, no, not Mexican food. Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just because you ate a taco does not mean that you know anything about Mexican food.
That's right.
So we need to make sure if we're gonna really talk about this and it's really gonna be instilled that it needs to come it needs to be pure.
Right.
It needs
well,
to be
that's
pure.
where the responsibility, and you can talk because you're already fulfilling the responsibility, and we've done it with the children,
right?
But it makes you realize, okay, nobody's going to do this, and I don't do it. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean? Yeah. Nobody's going to do it if I don't do
Absolutely.
it. So I'm glad to hear all that you've accomplished with that, because it's what you're saying is real. That's real.
And like
That's
you
real.
say,
People don't have technical savvy sometimes with stuff. They might have the right thing in their heart, but it's like that's not actually right what you're teaching them.
Another thing, and I'm sure you found this too in teaching children, is that they're not the monsters everybody make them out to be.
No.
Right.
They want that love. They want that attention that you get, and because we're bringing an art or something to the table or whatever, something that they kind of already want to do a little bit,
right?
And then you're actually able to guide them, and if you can drop some knowledge and get their eyes wide open, I realize I like it. These are some we gotta. Actually, believe it or not, just with the children I've been around, we actually have a very bright future ahead of us.
Yeah.
If we continue to do what
absolutely
about right now.
I want us to be that teacher. You know what I'm saying? Like that we all had when you think about, when I first started doing poetry, when I first started doing whatever, there was this person that came to our school, or there's this person that my mom knew, or whatever it was, and that was the person that for lack of a better word, turned you out, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because I have teachers like that in my mind where I'm like, wow,
planted a seed.
Like Xenakis. Xenakis is my favorite. He used to eat onions. I'm like, are you eating onions? But he was amazing.
They have layers, like ogres.
Yeah. I mean, we weirdos off the rip, though. Artists get the weirdo card.
Right out of the gate.
Off the gate. Yeah. So, and that's why
I learned to wear mine proud as fuck.
Oh man,
it's awesome though.
It is. Call me normal. I'll slap the shit out
real
you.
ones.
Damn right.
Call me normal.
George can't keep his head still when he do poetry.
I can't keep nothing still when I do poetry.
My head moves when George's head moves.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, now I'm gonna see it every time.
Okay.
And as he stares into wherever,
right,
I stare into wherever.
Right.
Yo, for real, George, you're nice.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All are nice.
Absolutely.
You're a beast. I really came to realize it. Like, I'm like, okay, like seriously, this motherfucker.
And I ain't gonna front. Spoken word poetry to me, it can be just as difficult as being a comedian.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
Venue, no sound. It's you. You have to, and you have to get with the crowd. So being around Godchild, 13, Queen Sheba, and back in the day. You know what I mean?
I think comedians got it worse.
Yeah.
I think it's much harder.
All day.
Yeah.
I think comedians have the hardest
because there's an
job
expectation,
of the art.
with like when a poet goes up, if you have an audience that's maybe not super familiar, they're like, oh, they're ready for just about anything. They're like, well, let's see what he's got.
Right.
When it's a comedian, they're like, make me laugh.
Damn entitlement.
You have to change the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like, and forget if somebody had a bad day that's sitting in front of you. It doesn't matter. Like, you have to,
Yeah, fuck the MCs. Comedians got crowd control.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, they're the ultimate MCs and actors. Speaking of actors.
And like as rappers and poets, we're a lot less likely to have anybody yell out at us. Comedians, people have this weird idea that you somehow get to participate.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and then when a good comedian eats you alive,
right,
you want to get all pissed
now your
off.
feelings hurt.
Now your feelings hurt.
Right.
You were the asshole.
Right.
You know,
that was
really
you.
good at that.
That was you
Jamie
screwed up.
Foxx. Jamie Foxx will roast.
He will rip you.
Oh my god!
Like I don't know why anybody would even
He's
pipe.
actually really funny, and he will roast you a lot.
Celebrities ain't safe. You know what I mean?
Dale
No, they're not.
Cat Williams will roast you too.
Dale Hughley will eat you.
Cat Williams will fight you.
Yeah. There's different levels and types of comedy.
Yeah.
You know, and there's some comedians that have to, I mean, if they're not roasting you, then they're not really funny.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then there's some people who
Insult
just have
comics. That's what they base their whole thing around.
I don't like pure insult comics. I could do without that.
And it's interesting that we're talking about comedians and the other arts. Comedy is also something I don't think you can teach. you know, kind
No.
of.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some techniques.
There's
but
classes,
not,
right?
I
Like
don't
you
think
said,
you can teach that.
you can't make a person funny.
It's
you
like
can't
singing.
teach a person to be funny.
Exactly.
Right. Well, and
You can
can't
coach singing, but
you can't teach somebody how to be able to finagle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's really difficult. You can write material.
Yeah.
And you can go out and have the best expectations to deliver that material.
Yeah. Right.
But when that crowd is just not feeling, you know, if everything you have is a black joke and you walk into a political room,
Right.
Yeah,
crickets,
a good
what y'all
comedian
just
will
heard on the
feel
mic,
another
crickets.
one.
Right.
You know, so if you don't have it in you, like you just said, to be able to come up and quick, you know, on your feet and all those things.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of where it goes back to people try to find people to insult.
Yeah.
You know, because you're like, I know I'm gonna be able to find somebody. I know I'm gonna be able to find a white woman in the audience with a black man, or
somebody with a really crazy suit on,
a black woman with a white man. That's automatically the number one joke I can have. You know what I'm saying? There's exactly.
Look, everybody,
so,
Iggy Azalea in the crowd.
yes,
Iggy Azalea.
exactly. So tell me, brother, how is this? You know, it's those token like 4 jokes that are always there.
Cliches that just get recycled and reused.
Bruce is one of the masters of no material.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He will come out there and just
love Bruce.
Because he's just a naturally funny dude.
Right.
I've seen Dave Chappelle live twice, and some of the funniest parts of his set was when he would just get into random conversation with like the front row,
just talk,
just being talking,
Dave.
just being Dave.
That's
hilarious.
That's really how I think Kevin Hart is the new rebirth of that too. Like he's very just conversational.
Yeah.
I happen to think he's very funny.
I think so too.
You know,
Kevin Hart's
Right.
hilarious.
See, Kevin Hart,
in a dumb way.
but he made millions off joking himself.
Yeah,
He
very
clowned
true.
himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you said, so if you see Kevin Hart, like, yeah, if you was in my high school, I'd have been joking you. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you are a funny dude. You walk up and talk like that and you're that small, of course. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, a lot of people know what I mean? But he took that and made an empire out of it. I can't do nothing but appreciate that. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of pain in comedy. There's a lot.
He did say laugh at my pain. That was the first one.
And most of them, if you notice, talk about their families. A lot of comedians.
They say comedians are like the saddest group of artists you could ever meet.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. That they tend to be a very sad group.
As if we're their therapists.
That's why I kind of give props to like the comedians in particular that come to the venue during the open mic, because there are times where somebody went up there and did a spoken word piece that just completely ripped the heart out of the whole room. There's people crying. It's emotional. You know what I mean? It was just something so incredibly personal. And some poor comedian has to come up behind them and they get 4 minutes.
Right.
And they get roughly a couple seconds to turn the room around, because if you don't have them immediately,
that's it.
You're done. And now you're dropping comedy on a room that's still trying to get over that last blow they just received. You know what I mean?
True.
All right, we got 20 minutes left, and this last
let's use it.
This last one is funny because Marquita recently did a post that pissed some people off.
Let's do it. This right here be making some folks mad sometimes, y'all.
She was talking about people driving and spending money to go X amount of distance to go see Beyonce and passing on a lot of great local artists. My question is, what is the local scene missing to grab these people's attention?
Ooh, who wants to take it? Who wants to take it?
I'll take it.
Go ahead.
All right. What is missing is the people that are outside of the community not knowing about what's going on, and at the same time, if they do know, they're not willing to take time to go check it out. Like there have been numerous times where, you know, you try to get your people involved, get your homies out or whatever, and it's like pulling teeth sometimes to get some of your closest homies and family members that you grew up or whatever to try to come out and see you or see you and whoever else that you think is dope that you know that they would like. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's such a struggle, and at the same time, it feels so unnecessary. And there's places in Virginia, like for instance Richmond, where their scene is tight. They got people that are in other bands going out to see, you know, album release shows, and on top of that, they got just outsiders that are not musicians, not painters, not anything. They just support the scene. You know what I'm saying? Because they love what's going on. And I feel like there's so many events that happen around here that if people knew about it, they would be there. But it's weird. I just don't understand. I don't understand how you can put out the words so hard,
right?
And only get
you see the same people, audience at every event you go to.
Yeah, it blows my mind. I don't know. So I feel like what needs to happen is just either people gotta go back to just passing out mad flyers and and also have the city ordinances change shit up so that people can actually put flyers up and not have to pay for permits and stuff. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like that, I think is also a deterring factor when you don't have the actual city behind it all the way.
That do you think it's the go ahead.
I will just keep mine simple because I know from.
Yeah, I got a little.
I know he got.
I'm gonna let him say.
Get closer to the mic too, Megan.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, definitely the area where we're at. I can only speak for locally here because I know that it's not the same everywhere you go.
Yeah, exactly.
I do think the area has a huge impact on the way it is, and it's the naval base kind of atmosphere that we live in. It's a military atmosphere. A lot of my friends came and went because they weren't from here in the first place, and sometimes when you get to building a scene, some of those people that left to go back home or to go wherever, they were movers and shakers. And sometimes I've known a few people to leave and kind of take a chunk of the scene with them when they did, just because the area is not a grounded of an area. And then on top of that, it's a little area. It's not. It's just being built up, being made more metropolitan and stuff like that. Then I mean, just speaking as a Black person in America, I find that our race sometimes we can be a little less appreciative of what it is that we have, because we're looking for something more, and we're so busy chasing it that we think we're missing something over here, and really just right here in our faces is what we really need to be worried about. I think a lot of us, we want to be famous, and the way the industry already, I mean, it's called the industry, so that's just about it. But the way it cultivates you to kind of think about music, and particularly hip hop, is that you're not doing it unless you're doing it like this. So a lot of times, just like, well, you local, but people, our fans even are celebrity minded. Like they think. I don't know what they think is supposed to happen, but it's like, if you don't come out to the show, then I don't have the support. Like, it's just that simple. Like, it's not about you listening to my album one time and then you're done. Like, be a fan like you would be of Beyonce or Jay-Z or whoever. But I understand that I just don't have the bells and whistles that she's wearing, and it
so
is.
Do you think this brings me back to what I was going to ask him? I guess it's a question to all the artists in the room. Do you think it becomes a thing of the guarantee? Like, I know what I'm getting into when I go see a Beyonce show.
Yes.
Because I know all her songs already. Maybe I don't want to spend this $5 to go see either A, my homie that I've seen a million times, or B, a show that I may not enjoy. Because
I know for me, I listen to local music.
I don't think it should matter. I'm just posing the question.
I listen to local music like constantly, like the way a person, and because we record so much of it, and then I've collected it over the years, I really have a good 50 or 60 artists that I can listen to, and I'll say 40 of them are really good, and the rest are pretty good. So for me, to see their show does something for me because it's a soundtrack to my life type of thing. Beyonce is a soundtrack to people's lives. People get married to Beyonce. People ride down the car on their way to whatever to Beyonce. I ride down the street, and I like Beyonce, but I ride down the street to you guys or whoever. And so when I get to see you live, it is for me more of an experience than it would be for most of the people in the audience just hearing me for the first time. They can't sing to my song. They can't sing along. You know
and to be fair, no beef with Beyonce. She's just representing the industry.
She's representing
right
the
now.
ultimate, right. So yeah, I do think it's
so
definitely the guarantee.
Beehive, don't come
shows
for
are
us,
shitty
please.
too.
Right.
When you get to them, some shows are
We'll have the Beehive showing up at the clubhouse like boom, 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 boom.
I mean, if anything, they'll probably come for me because I'm the one who put up the post and started this.
Yeah, true.
And
I don't care what they say.
Yeah, and you know what?
Asked me.
And this is the thing. I have no problem with thought provoking. I'm not afraid of it. I'm also not afraid of people's opinions. And I love to hear it. I love to hear good debate.
Yeah,
you know, and I think good debate furthers us mentally. You know,
absolutely.
And I think.
Yes.
Good debate.
Right. You're right.
Constructive.
Not me
constructive
versus you.
debate. I really do love being able to speak to people who maybe are not as artistic. You know, I'm focused because I feel like everyone's artistic, but you know, whether you focus on it is a different, you know, it's a completely different perspective. So part of that post that day, and I actually texted Terrell and I was like, you know, oh, this is about to make people mad. Enter.
And I hadn't seen it yet.
He didn't see it, and it just all of a sudden, la 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 la. You know,
got mad.
Oh, and people were like, yeah, I drove 5 hours and it was great. And da da da. Now, I will tell you, hindsight. No, and it did. They did get my point because then people started to have friendly banter. If we can call it that.
Yeah.
Friendly banter. Now, I will tell you, I learned something from that. I learned something very important. When it goes back to when I spoke about the accountability, I realized that when you look at my Facebook, it's very, very positive. Very positive. I'm that girl that puts all the glitter and the, positive, points videos. And all that. Yeah. So this literally was the first controversial thing I had posted on my page. So I know a lot of people were like, ooh, like Keith about to do something. What's going on? But when it comes back to my real feeling of it, it definitely, of course, wasn't meaning to bash, Bae, because I love, I do love Beyonce for the performance factor. I love that. I mean, she puts,
you love her.
She puts time and effort into, so we are talking about a whole different level, but some of the responses really showed me why people do what they do. So one of the responses was, Beyonce's on a whole nother level. And I was like, you know what? I have to agree with that. I can respect that answer because we're talking about millions of dollars put into 110 shows that are across the world. So, we're going way beyond the level of, $5 open mic night. You know what I'm saying? So, when we try to compare, of course, apples to oranges, I'm like, well, what's the glue in between that? Me as an artist, I realize that there has to be an intention to educate, an intention to understand, and an intention to be there. So that intention coming from me as an artist to be there for you when you're having something, then the intention of the ecosystem that we're building. There are I love analogies. There are spots and places in our ecosystem that aren't fully grown yet. So the dots don't connect each other to where it grows and builds, kind of like an incubator. It heats up and then next thing you know, something spawns off of it. So how do we get to the place where this ecosystem becomes fully developed and it's moving and building? So now we're looking at a city like a DC. Now we're looking like a New York because New York is an ecosystem. Every borough has its own ecosystem. So you're talking about just tons and tons, the strength behind that. So when people were really replying, the understanding, and I was like, man, that's what it is. It's just there's the connection's not there. You have, and I don't know, a person named Brittany didn't respond, but we'll just say Brittany. I don't want to say Becky because that's a whole nother conversation. But we'll say, Brittany's there. We're like, oh, I just love Beyonce. She's cool, and yeah, all the single ladies. That's my Brittany voice. Sorry to all the Brittany's out there in the world, but the point is that Brittany has all the great intentions, and to us, where like you might be my Brittany. Beyonce, what I'm saying? You guys get what I'm saying. So with that same respect, so she has the same amount of respect for Beyonce as we do for George, as we do for, you know what I'm saying? So it's equal, but now it's just making sure that there's that intention to spread it and continue to educate. So you can now say, oh man, I really like this artist too. I never knew I was going to like this artist, but now, okay, cool. I can like somebody besides a Beyonce. Now, the second part of that, because I know I'm long-winded, but the second part of that is I feel like there also can be, in us taking a responsibility to be creative with the way that we do shows. Open mic nights pop up. I mean, anthills, dime a dozen. So when you're talking about which one you're going to attend, well, what makes this $5 one different from this $5 one? What makes this one different from this one? When you go to a Beyonce show, going back to saying, well, we know what to expect. She's going to have water. Wale's going to come out from the ceiling over here. Kanye going to be in the audience. The baby mama Kim is going to be somewhere else. There's so many exciting things that add to that factor of just wow. So
and
for
none of
us,
it's gonna be shitty. That's the main.
Right.
I've been to a lot of shitty bad open mics. Because hip hop is so divided the way it is.
Absolutely.
Hip hop. There's us. We do one kind of hip hop. Maybe it might spin over a little bit into people who do a Red Manny kind of hip hop, which is still pretty good hip hop.
Right.
And then there's just the trap group, and then sometimes we did a show for this guy named Hen.
Close to the mic.
Hen's cool. You know what I'm saying? He's real cool. He's actually a real positive brother, but he booked different artists, and some of them were us, and then some of them were completely at the other end of the spectrum. And there's kind of like a disconnect that going on with hip hop in general that makes it really hard to kind of grow what we're trying to grow, because people don't even agree anymore on what it is or what's
I'm
good.
glad you said that.
That was good. Yes.
I got curious and I decided to start basically researching all the XXL freshmen. I don't understand this. Maybe it's okay. You know how this is the best thing I can think of is hip hop has roots in jazz, rock and roll, and blues, but it is not jazz, rock and roll, or blues.
Right.
This new stuff might have its roots in hip hop, but it is not hip hop. And they are not rap. I don't know what they're doing.
Right.
They might need to name it something else, but you can't call it rap when you. It's what you did.
I appreciate it. I appreciated it when they said no. I appreciate it when they distinguished themselves from us. The fact that they called it trap. Yeah. That's the one thing I appreciate about them.
Trap music is not rap.
That. But another problem with the local scene or the underground is a lack of organization.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
And throwing the events. And like you said, the lack of creativity thereof. I come from a place here where if you looked 5 years after you performed here, starting from say 96, the industry here was designed. The industry here was nothing more than clubs that were about to close that would let you come in and do something and hope that you would revive their club. And when they see that you didn't, then they shut it down.
Right.
So we had a thing called word of mouth. Probably one of the dopest environments you can create for hip hop. We had Skills slid through. We had bands coming through, Infectious Organisms, who now produce who now produce for Black Eyed Peas or whatever. Yeah. And back then, and so we had I was an organizational director, so we had sound checks. You had to be there at a certain time. If you weren't there at a certain time, you won't perform it. Discipline with artists, letting them know you're getting into an industry.
Right.
Yeah.
So we need to bring the industry to them here. So whenever we do things, and we've gotten flack from like younger artists or people like that, things like that when we would try to do things, and I was always kind of a stickler for, because I want this scene that we have to have out there.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So if we have, and then if you have trap night, I think everybody needs their night, but like after the trap people perform, they left with no one for us to perform for.
Right. And we don't do that. We'll stay
and support.
We'll even hear your
you see what I'm saying? So, and that's another thing. People don't.
Children were out there, and they were saying all this stuff about their vaginas. And
people rock, and then they leave.
Yeah, I hate that.
I hate that. Being a host of an open mic, I see that a lot,
man.
And even sometimes, like if like me, when I had to leave the venue the other night, it's because I had to get home. I was mad at myself for having to leave.
Yeah, but you know what? When you have sat there already for 2.5 hours, I'm okay with you bouncing.
Right.
I'm okay with you bouncing. If you've been waiting that long and we're already at the end of the night, and I've had people come to me, I'm so sorry, I got to be at work in the morning. I get it. I'd leave too if I wasn't hosting. You know what I'm saying?
But when you're at that level where you have a lot of respect locally on the industry,
I'm very fortunate.
But they want to put you on last.
Yeah,
because sometimes I realize people think we have this massive following. They like us. They love our music.
Yeah.
So we're gonna put the rebel people on last.
Yeah.
And think that, and then we tell people, we post, we Facebook, we do everything. And we've been around 20 some odd years. But like she said, that military aspect, scenes have changed. We were Junipers, the crowd was a group of people. When we became the rebel people and came back out, whole nother group.
Right.
Whole nother age. Now that trap thing has started coming in, so now we're challenged with being older people, so young people. Why are you even rhyming? You know what I mean? Things like that or whatever.
About it, though, is that we're from that true school, man. Don't nobody rhyme like the way we rhyme.
Nope.
From the 90s.
Nope.
So
3 minutes.
Trap people still end up being like pretty much like, they might not love the kind of hip hop we do because they like the kind of hip hop they like here, but they hear it and they be like, yo, that was dope. Because rhyming, nasty ass rhyming, going back to what she was saying about
lyricism is lyricism.
Yeah,
regardless.
I had to rhyme for 21 years to not know.
Right, and I could respect these new schoolers if there was a lyricism, but there isn't. This designer freestyle, bro. You can't spit 2 couplets and call it a fucking freestyle.
Hashtag couplet.
You whack. It was garbage. Plain and simple.
I did the whole thing just now.
And there's not even any creativity, because instead of using adjectives to describe Timmy Turner, he just said his name 3 times.
Like
it could have been Little Broken Timmy Turner.
Right. Exactly.
And that's why he wants a gun.
I mean,
but
you know what I mean? We've even compromised our morality. I love my people. I'm not a thug, but my group made dope hip hop.
But they make
Right.
good
They made
music.
good music.
Yeah.
And like I said, certainly being a woman, you know, I already talked about.
Right.
I got to compromise
You know
all
what I
the
mean?
time.
Well,
Just being.
since
Oh
y'all
my
go through it,
gosh.
Constantly some
I
kind
feel
of
for you.
bitches.
And that's why I say
Yo.
it can't be called rap because that's not how
Right.
you rap.
No,
Right.
that's we got.
Yo,
You got to come up with a name.
8:59, guys.
And-
We gotta.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, we hope you have enjoyed this conversation as much as we have. We're about to
There
go
has to be a
stand in the
part 2 of
driveway
this.
and have the rest of this.
You know what I mean?
Thank you to our guests for being here. Darrell, thank you for being here. Rubber People,
Oh.
All right.
Marquita,
You're welcome. Thank
Justin.
Darrell, this was a brilliant idea.
Yo.
Props for you, to
Can
you
we
for
just
this.
make this show like 2 hours?
I know.
I was gonna say that, but you know
Fuck,
what? Great
man.
minds
Like,
think alike.
yeah, there's so much I want to say, man. Like,
I know. Thank everybody
I know.
for listening.
Oh,
Thank you, Justin.
Yo,
Thank
Jeff.
you guys,
yo,
Justin.
the
Jeff.
trumpet player. You know what I mean? What it is, man.
I say what?
You look like Ray 3000.
Yo, I get that all the
I
time.
know you do. 'Cause you look just like Ray 3000.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we gotta sign off. But remember, we do what we do.
Because we includes you.
Chocolate milk
Peace.
and waffle show.
Good night, Internet.
Peace out.
You pack the kids away to college and wave them a grinning goodbye.